I met Cheech in Canada, 1968.
He said, come down to the club and see what we're doing.
So he came down with his girlfriend.
It was right downtown, man. It was the worst part of town.
It was a strip joint. Big bikers and all these rowdy single guys.
They had this kind of, I don't know, this weirdest thing going.
I thought it would be sexier if they took off their street clothes on stage in the form of, say, a skit.
I told him I was this great improv actor, and he hired me as a writer. It was kind of an ideal situation for a young guy. You get to hang out with naked chicks and smoke dope and do comedy. And I don't know, let me see the girls. Okay, let me see the dope, okay.
But to give you an idea of the club, we got all these hardcore bikers and that wanting to see naked women. And so I had a classical guitarist come out, and then a mime artist would come out, picking flowers. Just when the bikers in the audience are getting ready to attack, or to kill somebody, I would come out through a door with my shirt off, my hair messed up as if I woke up, with a rolled up newspaper, and I'd walk over and say to Dave, what kind of song is this? And I'd start beating him to death.
The thing that really developed when we got into LA was the Pedro character, making him Chicano lowrider, because they didn't have too many Chicano lowriders in Vancouver, and even less in Calgary.
We went through all the stages that people do in this town. People trying to manage you, and they couldn't manage us, and so on, and until we met Lou Adler. After that, we did it.
The way that I met Cheech and Chong, I was at the Troubadour on a Monday night, which was their hootenanny night.
In order to get on stage, you had to show up early in the morning to stand in line, waiting for the box office to open at 6.
We'd sit there, we'd write material, and we'd eat sunflower seeds and watch all the hippies go back and forth and talk to the other nuts in the line.
You could tell how long we were there because people would walk by and you could hear them crunch, crunch, crunch on the sunflower seeds.
So finally, we started building a following there.
And so we heard that Lou was there, and so Cheech called him up, and Lou said, come on in.
So we go down there, we meet Lou at his office, and he was kind of a hip-looking guy, and he told us he grew up in East LA.
One particular routine that Cheech does, someone that I went to school with, so I related to their material in that way.
He said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, we want to make a record, we want to do a comedy album.
If we could come up with a way to help somebody visualize the routines that they were doing.
We figured, hey, this is a funny audio joke. Okay, so we started making audio jokes,
Our first hit was a little comedy thing called Dave's Not Here.
The bit was supposed to be I was supposed to knock on the door and him come in, and it was about an employment office.
So we're in this little studio.
Tommy says, well, why don't you get into the character, put on a coat and a hat and go out there.
When he went outside, I'm trying to get this little tape recorder working, and I didn't know it was on or not. Anyway, when he knocked, I didn't look at the needle. I looked at the door, and I said, who is it?
He's not supposed to say, who is it? He's supposed to come in and we start the bit.
And he goes, it's me, man. I got to stop. Let me in. And so I was stunned. I was looking at the tape recorder thinking, is that on? Did it record or what? And so then he knocked again, and I saw the needle jump. So I said, oh, it's working. So I'll start the bit over again. So I goes, who is it? He goes, it's me, man. I got to stop. Now let me in. And then I thought, well, that's funny. He's getting mad. And so I just waited again. And then he knocked again. Bam, bam, bam. I said, who is it? My dumb stoner voice.
And so the routine proceeded with him just f***ing with me. Who? What? Who?
He says, I'm Dave, man. And he started banging the door, banging the door. I'm Dave, now let me in. It's hot out here. What are you doing?
And everybody on the lot is walking around. They're saying, who is this guy with the long hair and the long coat and the hat with a bag? What is he knocking on the door saying he's Dave?
So I opened the door, and I thought he was going to hit me.
And so he says, you got to hear this. And so we played it back, and we just rolled on the ground. It was so hilariously funny.
And every time we played it, we laughed ourselves sick.
The optimum way of presenting the material of Cheech and Chong was film.
You know, the thing about making your first movie, it is like making love for the first time. You never forget it. And it's like, you can't believe that you're doing it. I'm finally in. We're making a movie.
Let that sucker up, man. Go to the moon.
It was a low budget movie. We shot it in less than a month, and sort of like guerrilla movie making.
You know, we just captured that rock and roll feeling, the anti-establishment, the youth got to get out of the house, and it's an ode to the genius of simplicity. They get in, they come around, they go around, you see where there's an empty lot, they come in, they park. Tommy Chong 101. I think he came up with that, the LA car culture. They go everywhere in cars.
We just whipped through LA, we went through, Tijuana, the whole thing.
But I remember doing this setup, and there was this guy doing clams. I said, hey, man, I'm going to try one of these. Everybody looking, clams on the street in Tijuana, I don't know. And this, like, really scrungy comes walking up. She comes up to me and just puts her arm around me, and she takes the clam, without word, takes the clam out of my hand, goes, and then gives it back to me. And even the clam guy goes, I'll get you another one. Now, Stacy was very disciplined. He got who he wanted this guy to be. Tom Skerritt, he got that Strawberry character down, that scary Vietnam vet.
Zane Busby, who plays the girl that they pick up.
During lunch, Zane was telling us this story. It's a real story about her girlfriend.
And every time they'd make love, she'd make a lot of noise.
And we're just rolling on the ground laughing because it was so fun. So Tommy says, that's what we're filming after lunch.
And she'd start going like a motorboat,
And we had guys, kind of with the 2x4s rocking the van.
It was up in smoke. We learned that we couldn't get high. We were supposed to be driving, and the walkie-talkie, they go, okay, we're rolling. And we just sat there and we're smoking, talking. And the poor cameraman, they're waiting there, waiting, nothing. And then about 15 minutes went by, finally goes, are you guys okay? Where are you? I said, oh, sorry.
That is Heavy Metal 101. That riff was written by our friend Gabriel DeLorme, who was part of our group in Vancouver.
That's all he had. And so then I said, oh, okay. So I took it and wrote the lyrics. Mama talking to me, trying to tell me how to live, but I don't listen to her because my head is like a sieve. Being comedians, we weren't stuck in a genre. We were like, okay, who are we going to make fun of next? And the punk thing was just coming into its own, and we said, wow.
We don't even know any tunes yet, man.
What do you mean, man? We have 2 rehearsals, man. Besides, it's just punk rock, man. You don't have to know how to play. All you just got to do is be a punk.
It may have been the first time that the punk groups, if you will, were filmed.
We captured the essence, not only of the day, but an essential youth quality and us against them quality. Whoever it was against the establishment.
But to think beyond just putting the film out to what would happen 20 years from, or 5 years from, I don't think we even thought about it. It's a pleasant surprise that it just continues.
It's a piece of history, and it's there. It will always be there. And, you can't mess with it, We captured a whole period of time, and it's a very important piece of American history, very, very important. Those times will never happen again. That was our time.
Now listen, I like you boys. You're good boys, I can tell by looking at you. Now, when you get in that courtroom, you're going to face a real ball breaker of a judge. So I got a little surprise for you.
Oh, wow, man.
One of these here red birds with a black cup of coffee will set you free. I mean, you go in that courtroom with Tiger.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, can I hold him, man?
Hold them for $5 a piece. Ordinarily they go for 10, but I'm gonna give them to you for $5.
$5, man, that's a ripoff. You can get it for 50 cents on the street.
Well, you're not on the street.
Man, I haven't seen these since '71, man.
Yeah, but $5, man.
It was at a Dead concert, man. We were there for 24 hours.
That's $5 a piece.
I dropped 6 of them. I almost died.
All right, come on, move it out. Move it out. How's it going, sir? Sit down. Not you. Get up. Give me the money.
I don't have the money, man. I honest to
I know
God.
you got $15 on you. Give me the money.
No, I don't have
Well,
no
give me
money.
the pills then.
I accidentally took them, man.
What do you mean you accidentally took them?
Well, when that dude came in, he scared me, and I just dropped him, man.
Jesus.
Tabaka and Stoner next. Arnold, get Horwinkle out of there.
All right. See you later, asshole.
That's me.
Hey, man, you really take those pills?
Oh, man, you serious, man?
I thought you took them, man.
Take anybody thing. I don't know what's in this shit.
Hey, watch out. What's the matter?
You made me swallow one, man.
You took one of them pills?
You hit my hand,
You
man.
never know what's in them pills, man. What you take that for?
Don't fight me now, you stutter about big. Stutter about big.
Jesus, Leslie, you smell like a bushel of buttholes, for Christ's sake.
Just your breastbone back in your face.
Now, don't get too smart, I'll stick that cane up your ass.
Yeah? Hey, you wanna smell your mama?
I'll see you later. It won't be water, but fire next time.
Show that goddamn cow being castrated.
How you doing? Hey, man. Hey, man, are you okay? Hey.
Anthony Stoner, Pedro de Pacas.
This is Toyota Kawasaki here at the Mexican-United States border, where a huge task force is preparing a surprise welcome for a vehicle constructed entirely of high-grade marijuana.
I quit school early, you know. As soon as I smoked a joint, I said, oh, okay, I know everything I need to know. And from then on, I was on my way.
You saw the writing on the wall. I was in college, my first year in college, and I came home one night to my apartment, and all my buddies, my roommates were having a party, and my roommate handed me this cigarette. He knew I didn't smoke. I said, what is this? This is a joint, man. What? It's marijuana. Oh. And all my life I heard, you smoke this, you're going to be insane and be stealing out of your mother's purse to buy heroin. Okay. Well, might as well. And I got high and I was like, and what else had they been lying about?
How ignorant was society then? Dangerously ignorant.
Look, the first time that I ever attempted to get a joint, when I was 13, 14 years old, it cost 50 cents, but if you got caught, it was 15 years. So it was more than just taboo with society. It was really illegal.
It was illegal. It was hush-hush kind of, but everybody was doing it. And so we were the guys that say, well, everybody's doing it, so let's make a movie about it. We were products of our age. We came out in the early 70s, and we reflected what was happening in the streets that everybody was involved in, but nobody was officially talking about.
You got any narcotics or marijuana in here?
Not anymore.
And we were these two guys that were officially talking about it in a kind of offhanded way.
Hey, what kind of joint is this, man?
Oh, it's a heavy-duty joint, man.
Oh, it looks like a toothpick, man.
Oh, man, it is a toothpick.
See, the thing is, growing up poor, is that you have to make your own entertainment. You can't go somewhere to be entertained. You have to make your own entertainment in your own neighborhood, in your own house, if you're lucky enough to have a house. We grew up poor. We grew up in the ghetto. And so we could take that experience of how you survive. And the only way you survive poverty or anything, life is with humor. You know, that's what protects you.
What's your name?
Isn't it on there on the license, man?
What's your name?
Oh, here's the... Hey, what's your name, man? The dude wants to know your name, man. His name is Ralph, man.
We always considered ourselves comedic actors. We weren't comedians like stand-up. Hey, a funny thing happened to me on the way to the club. No, all our contemporaries, Richard Pryor, Lily Tomlin, George Carlin, all those guys, their records consisted of their live act. We went into a studio and created these little scenarios and different characters, and they're all different. So it was like very atmospheric. It was almost like radio theater.
Yeah.
And that's how we made our albums.
Just a minute, I'll put the seat back. Okay, pull it up, man. A little more.
Hey, we're almost into the next
Hold it, right? No, back up now.
Fregón.
Tommy used to say that Cheech and Chong was who we were when our wives weren't around. Pretty much.
Well, we get a character. You know.
When, boy? When? Are you gonna get your act together?
Like, I got a character from the kid in Vancouver that used to work our lights.
He was like this hippie, man. Met him in an alley.
He was like, you know, the Joker in the King's Court, you know, like no one would say things that he would say.
You girls need a ride?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
I'm going that way.
And we were standing outside that club, and this lowrider come by. What did he say?
It says, hey, you guys know where Reseda Boulevard is? Yeah, you're on it. Yeah, see, I told you, man. We're like, and then Tommy turns to me and says, let's do that bit that we've been doing in the car. You be that guy. Okay. And I'll be this other guy. That's when it came together. Because we've been doing that bit for the week, and everybody, yeah, okay, great. We started doing it with those two characters, the whole club stopped. Everybody came, and they were like, wow, okay, that's it. Those are two of the guys.
Yeah, we hit a nerve.
We hit a nerve.
It was just destined to happen. It had to happen.
I found Cheech and Chong, Tommy and Cheech, at the Troubadour on a hootenanny night, which is where people sign up. Most of them are just starting out. I went in, and Tommy and Cheech were on their knees, going around in circles, smelling each other's butts.
I think that's what attracted him.
Which was their dog act. They played two dogs. And I said, I'd like to record these guys. And that was the beginning.
But Lou had this incredible taste of what we were doing.
I went to school in East LA, Boyle Heights, so I knew who Cheech was doing.
Hey, how many fingers you see?
Well, I think Let's Make a Movie came, at least in my mind, it came right away.
We were a stage act first that had to figure out how to convert our stage act into a record. And now we had to figure out how to convert the record into a movie. It was really going back to our acting roots.
The request lines are now open.
But if you can imagine, I go into a studio and say, I'd like to make a comedy film about marijuana with a Chinaman and a Mexican. Not a lot of, hey, yeah, let's make that movie. It took 7 years to make that movie, to make Up in Smoke.
Because we had no idea how to write a movie. We just started writing on this bit and that bit.
We always had Tommy and Cheech's humor and the characters within the story. But, I mean, wherever we could get anything in that was from an album.
Come on, ice cream.
Which made it not only funny, but somewhat familiar to the audience that they were building.
Hey, I really like your car, man. Did you do this yourself?
Yeah, I customized it myself, man.
Ah, looks fantastic, man.
The movie originally was supposed to be Cheech and Chong's greatest hits.
Yeah, there was no coherent story.
Until one day I came to work, I said, hey, I wrote a song. What do you think of this? And I sang Up and Smoke to them. And Cheech says right away, he says, that's the title of the movie.
Yeah.
And so we said, let's do Pedro and Man.
Yeah, those are the two stars.
The Adventures of Pedro and Man, if anything.
They are such good comedians that is overlooked sometimes, that it could have been about anything.
We were like a runaway train, man. We did that movie in less than a month, and boom, it's in the can.
It was tough making the film. It wasn't as much fun as it looked. It was work. I was a first-time director. It's their first film. I think we went through 3 cinematographers.
It was mostly shot in masters. We didn't even know about close-ups. You know, they didn't have close-ups on stage or in
We
the
didn't need
record.
them.
We didn't
You
need
don't need
them
them to make a laugh.
I love a manly chest.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, on a girl.
Our movie is like our live act. We'd go into a club and we'd scope out the audience and decide where we're going to go.
Hey, man. Am I driving okay?
And then create.
I think we're parked, man.
It was a process of always writing. We were making up scenes as we went along. We'd have lunch. We're talking about experience. Let's shoot that after lunch. And that's what we did.
I didn't know your name was Alex, man.
Luckily, we had a crew that could handle that quick change.
Well, Lou knew, and we knew Robert Altman. So what we did, we hooked up with Robert Altman's crew. So we were with real movie makers that knew what they were doing. Right. And all we had to do was provide the stuff for them to shoot.
As far as the being stoned part, I think that's just added to the comedy and who the character was.
Hijo de la chingada.
It's to get a laugh. You know, if you do something and you get a laugh, you do a little bit more, you get a bigger laugh.
Put it down, man. Get rid of it, man. Not that way, man. Throw it out.
There's a lot of people that don't believe that we weren't stoned through the whole making of the movie.
Choke it up, man.
And we weren't.
No. Smoking lettuce.
Nobody can act that good.
Oh, yeah? I wasn't interested in a good review or a bad review. If they didn't find it funny, whoever they were, I didn't care.
The thing is that we got a lot of those reviews for some of those kind of, and then we got this glowing review from Pauline Kael in the New Yorker.
Yeah.
In the New Yorker. So
That's the
the rest of you guys.
We only looked at those.
We knew that we were funny to the audience that we were going after.
The Chicanos, you know, like George Lopez, man, when he saw Up in Smoke, he saw God.
Yeah, somebody that looks like me. Yeah. You know, a lot thinner.
But that style, it was a style.
The jokes and some of the things that we put in were because of who we were exposed to. So Yuska was, I heard it all my life.
Yescao is a Chicano name for weed. We showed sections of LA that we inhabited. When we got in a car, we went down the road, and here's the people we encounter. And everybody related to that. This is what I see every day, but I don't see it on the screen.
Any questions?
Wanna get high? Wanna get high?
It was made of the times of that time. Whether it resonates now, it's up to the people that view it.
Yeah.
What do you guys want?
They're smart enough to know what they did and what it's brought or wrought, however you're looking at it.
It was the culture. It is the culture. Yeah. And now the culture's above board. You don't have to go to jail for 20 years for pot.
Well, who's laughing now?
You understand? I am stoned. I am stoned.
So go with it.
I mean, we created that style. You know, we created the humor with the records.
We're sampled as much as James Brown was in the early days of rap, maybe more.
Method Man and Snoop and those, they always are talking about Cheech and Chong and what their inspiration was.
Here's the telling aspect of this whole career of Cheech and Chong. We are the #1 tattooed artists on people's bodies of anybody. And then first, it weirds you out, man. You know, it's like, that's a commitment. There's a picture somebody sent me the other day that a guy has on his ass. It's Cheech Crack Chong, you know. You can't even see it. It's on his butt.
Their audience has no boundaries.
We had them eating right out of their hands. We're gonna be big, man, really big. I feel good, man. Wish we could have something to celebrate, man.
Me and Tommy and Lou, we're in the kill zone here. The age-wise, it's like walking through a minefield. Then we could blow up today.
It's a pleasure to talk about anything 40 years later. He's bowing by it.
My wife told me just the other day, she says, your life insurance is up. What do you think? Should we renew it for 5 years or 10 years? I said, oh, why renew it at all? You know, I'm not going to get any benefit out of it.
Good luck. I'd love to live 40 more years, but I don't know if that's in the cards, you know?